Tom had never liked space travel. As a maintenance worker on a deep space cargo ship, he had taken the job for the quiet. No crowds, no noise, just machines, wires, and empty silence. But silence could be dangerous too. That morning, or whatever, passed for morning on the ship, alarms blared, red lights flashed across the control room. Something had hit the cargo vessel. An asteroid, a failed system, no one knew. But the engines were dying, and the ship was breaking apart. Evacuation pods, go. The captain shouted. Tom barely made it to one before the ship gave a loud metallic scream. Fire bloomed behind him as his pod launched into the unknown. He didn't remember the crash, just the sharp drop, the shaking, the noise. Then nothing. When Tom woke up, he was lying in thick green grass. Strange blue trees stretched into the sky. Their leaves shimmered like glass in the sunlight. A warm wind touched his face. Birds, if they were birds, sang in odd, deep voices. His body ached. His shoulder was bruised. His leg hurt. But he was alive. Okay, this isn't Earth. Tom muttered. His escape pod was nearby, half buried in mud. Smoke rose from its back. Most of the tools inside were broken or gone. He took a metal rod and a small med kit, bandaged his leg, and stood up slowly. Then he heard it. A loud thump. Then another. Heavy footsteps. The sound of something big. Something close. Tom turned and froze. A tall figure stood at the edge of the trees. It was over 2 meters tall. Its body was covered in gray, armor-like skin. It had 4 arms, each strong and long. Its face was strange but not ugly, sharp jaw, wide eyes, and 2 short horns above the brow. It looked both powerful and calm. The creature stepped forward. It tilted its head at Tom. Tom held up his hands. I don't want trouble. Just trying to stay alive. The alien woman said nothing. She looked at his injured leg, then back into the forest. Behind her, something growled. Another creature, this one truly a beast, came out of the trees. It was like a giant wolf, with glowing eyes and teeth like knives. It charged straight toward Tom. Before he could react, the tall woman moved. She leaped between Tom and the beast with one clean motion. She struck the creature with her upper arms. While blocking with the lower ones, they wrestled, growled, and clashed. Tom backed away, heart pounding. After a short but brutal fight, the beast lay still on the ground. The tall woman breathed hard. Then she turned and walked toward Tom again. She didn't hurt him. Instead, she offered him her hand. Tom hesitated, then took it. Her grip was firm, but not cruel. She lifted him up as if he weighed nothing. Then she said something in a language he didn't understand, deep, slow words full of strength. Thanks, Tom said, not knowing what else to say. The woman pointed toward the forest, then pointed at him, then at herself. You want me to come with you? She nodded. Tom looked back at the broken pod. He had no food, no way to call for help. He was on an unknown world, alone, injured. He gave a small sigh and nodded. All right, lead the way. The tall woman began to walk. Tom followed. They moved through thick jungle paths, over roots and stones, across small rivers and mossy rocks. The air was warm, and the world smelled like flowers and wet wood. Even injured, Tom kept up, thanks to the woman slowing her pace. She would stop sometimes to check if he was okay, her eyes softening when she saw his limp. After a few hours, they reached a hill. On the other side was a wide valley. In its center stood a village made of stone and bone, large huts, tall totems, and fires that burned with greenish flames. Tom's eyes widened. You live here? The woman nodded. She walked ahead, down the path toward the village. As they approached, more of her kind came out. They were just as tall, just as strong-looking. Some had armor. Others held long spears or strange tools. Children peeked from behind walls, wide-eyed. They looked at Tom like he was a bird with 3 wings. The woman raised one of her arms and said something loud. The others listened. One older alien stepped forward. He had a long staff and a necklace made of metal shards. His eyes looked wise but sharp. He stared at Tom, then spoke in the same language. Tom could only shrug. Sorry, I don't speak. Whatever this is. There was a silence. Then the woman stepped in front of Tom. She spoke firmly, like she was defending him. The elder nodded once, then said something else. The crowd stepped back. The path opened. The woman looked at Tom and gave a slight gesture. He followed her into the village. Inside, everything was strange. Cooking fires burned with green smoke. Strange creatures walked freely among the huts. The buildings looked like they had grown out of the earth itself. The woman led Tom to a stone platform. She motioned for him to sit. He did. She sat next to him. Tom looked up at the alien sky, which was now turning purple as the sun began to set. He looked at the woman. I guess I should learn your name. She pointed at herself. Raka. He smiled a little. Raka. Okay? I'm Tom. She repeated it slowly. Tom. The tribe watched them from a distance. No one came closer. Not yet, but Tom could feel. Something had changed. He wasn't just a visitor anymore. And though he didn't know it yet, this was just the beginning. Tom sat quietly on the stone platform. The village of the tall aliens buzzed around him, but no one came close. They watched him with cautious eyes, whispering in their deep, strange language. Some pointed. Others tilted their heads, clearly unsure of what to make of the small, soft-looking stranger. Next to him sat Raka, tall and calm like a mountain. She had brought him here, protected him, and even spoken for him. Tom still didn't know why, but he trusted her. As the sky turned from purple to deep blue, small glowing insects floated around the village, lighting the paths with soft yellow light. Children ran past, laughing in their low voices, while adults carried baskets, tools, or meat from hunting. Tom saw that this tribe lived in a simple but organized way, strong, proud, and close to nature. A younger alien approached, holding a clay bowl. He looked nervous. Raka nodded at him, and he stepped forward to hand the bowl to Tom. Inside was a thick soup with strange roots and pieces of meat. It smelled smoky, but not bad. Tom took a careful sip. It was hot, earthy, and had a deep flavor. He looked at the young alien and gave a small smile. Thanks. The young one didn't understand the words but saw the smile. He gave a small nod, then ran off. Raka gave a quiet laugh, a low sound, almost like a soft drum beat. Tom looked up at her. Guess I passed the food test. Raka tilted her head, not knowing what he said, but still looked amused. That night, Tom slept inside a round hut made of wood, stone, and animal skins. Raka stayed near the doorway like a guard, though he didn't understand the language or the customs. He felt oddly safe. The next morning, the village elder came. He was tall like the others, but walked slowly. His skin had faded marked scars, and lines that showed his age. Round his neck, he wore a ring of carved stones. His name, Raka explained by pointing to him and speaking slowly, was Doro. Doro studied Tom with curious eyes, then motioned for him to follow. Tom limped after him. His legs still hurt, but it was getting better. Doro led him to a wide, open area in the village. There, tools and machines lay in piles, old tech, parts of ships, broken metal, and even glowing crystals. It was like a junkyard, but older and important. Tom blinked. Where did all this come from? Doro picked up a piece of metal, shiny, dented, clearly from a human ship, and handed it to Tom. Tom turned it in his hands. It was part of a communication panel. Human-made. He frowned. You've seen humans before? He asked, then quickly realized they wouldn't understand. He pointed at himself, then the metal. Doro gave a slow nod. Tom felt his heart beat faster. That meant other humans had been here. How many? Where were they now? Raka stepped forward and pointed at a broken device that looked like a water purifier. It was made of scrap and covered in moss. Tom walked over, knelt, and examined it. The filter was blocked. The pump was cracked, but it wasn't useless. With some work, he could fix it. Raka handed him tools, old, strange versions of pliers, wire, and hammers. Tom worked carefully, cleaning the filter, sealing the cracks with melted resin, and reconnecting loose parts. Within 2 hours, the machine gave a small whir and released clean water. A group of villagers gathered around, whispering and gasping. Doro stepped forward, eyes wide, and touched the machine like it was magic. Tom wiped sweat from his forehead. Just a little fix. Raka looked at him with something new in her eyes' respect. That night, the tribe held a small feast, fires were lit, and music echoed in deep, rhythmic beats. Drums, flutes, and horns made of animal bone played a song both wild and beautiful. Tom sat near the fire, sharing food with Raka and a small group of villagers who had begun to accept him. They called him Tomek, now a name easier for their tongues. He didn't mind. One young alien, a bright-eyed child named Bim, climbed onto the rock next to Tom and pointed at the sky. Bim said something in his language, and Raka translated, slowly by showing with her hand stars, ships, falling from the sky. Tom understood. You saw more ships fall before? Bim nodded excitedly. Tom looked up at the stars. Maybe others had crashed too. Maybe he wasn't the only one here. But as he looked around at the tribe, their warmth, their curiosity, their strength, he felt something stir inside. These people didn't have computers or cities or space stations, but they had honor. They lived with nature. They helped each other. And somehow, they saw something in Tom he didn't even see in himself. The next day, Doro came again. This time, he brought a challenge. He drew a shape on the ground using ash. From the fire, it looked like a cave, with sharp teeth around its mouth. Raka said one word with a serious tone. Fire teeth. Doro held up the fingers, pointed at Tom, then at the shape. Then he stepped back. Raka looked at Tom with concern. Tom stared at the drawing, then at the tribe. It was clear now if he wanted to truly stay, to be one of them, he had to face something, some test. A trial. Tom stood tall, even with his limp. All right, he said quietly. Let's see what the fire teeth is. The tribe watched him as he nodded. Raka gave him a small weapon like a spear, but shorter. He also took his tool pouch, just in case. As he stepped forward toward the jungle path, a small group of villagers followed behind, drumming slowly. The trial had begun. The jungle felt heavier than usual. The trees were tall and thick, their wide leaves glowing faintly in the dim light. Strange birds watched from the branches. Insects buzzed in the air, and the sound of drums echoed softly in the distance. Tom walked slowly along the path. His left leg still hurt, but he kept moving. Behind him, a small group of villagers followed. They didn't speak. They just watched. Beside him, as always, was Raka. She handed him a small bag. Inside were a few supplies: dried roots, cloth, and a crystal that gave off faint warmth. Then she handed him a curved blade, small but sharp. Tom took a deep breath. So this is it? The trial of fire teeth? Raka didn't understand the words, but she nodded. Her face was serious. Doro, the village elder, stepped forward and pointed at a stone gate at the end of the path. Strange symbols were carved into the arch. Raka whispered something. Grulkai, the cave of flames. Tom looked into the dark entrance. It felt like the air inside was breathing. Doro raised his staff and spoke a few words in the tribe's language. Then he stepped back. Tom knew what that meant. He was going in alone. The cave was dark at first. Tom lit a small torch using the glowing crystal. The light flickered against the walls. The air smelled like ash and stone. Each step echoed. Not far inside, the cave opened into a wide chamber. Strange bones lay scattered on the ground, some large, some cracked. The walls were blackened with burn marks. On the far side of the chamber was a large stone pit, its edges shaped like teeth. The fire teeth. Tom stepped forward carefully. Then he heard it, a low growl. From the shadows, something moved. Tom raised his torch. Out of the darkness came a creature unlike anything he'd seen before. It was big, maybe the size of a car, with a body covered in thick, rock-like plates. Its eyes burned like hot coals, and steam came out of its nose. From its back rose spines that glowed red at the tips. This was the beast of the trial. The fire teeth. Tom didn't run. He couldn't. He had to pass this trial to stay with the tribe to earn his place. The beast growled and stepped closer. Tom looked around the cave. There were old bones, rocks, and piles of dry moss. Then he noticed something, vents in the walls blowing warm air, natural gas. An idea sparked in his mind. Tom dropped his small blade and pulled out a metal pipe from his pouch. He had built it earlier just in case, a makeshift slingshot, simple but strong. He found a sharp bone and wrapped it in dry moss. He lit the end with the crystal. It caught fire quickly. The beast roared and charged. Tom aimed. He shot the burning bone at one of the vents. Boom! The gas inside caught fire, and a flash of light filled the cave. The beast stopped, confused by the sudden blast. Tom moved fast, leading to more moss-wrapped bones. He ran around the pit, luring the beast toward the vents. Another boom shook the cave. One of the blasts hit near the beast, and it cried out. Not badly hurt, but stunned. Tom climbed a rock and lit his last fire shot. He waited, then aimed for a crack in the ceiling above the pit. The flame hit the spot, and a small part of the ceiling cracked. Rocks fell. The beast jumped back, but too late. The edge of the pit gave way, and the creature slipped into it with a deep, heavy thud. It roared, angry but trapped. Tom stood at the edge, breathing hard. He had not fought with strength. He had fought with thinking, with planning, with fire. Outside the cave, the villagers waited in silence. Raka stood near the entrance, her arms crossed, her eyes sharp. Then, from the cave, they heard a loud roar, and moments later, Tom stepped out. His face was covered in ash. His clothes were torn, but he was walking. Alive. Behind him, smoke drifted from the cave. No beast followed. The villagers gasped. Some even bowed their heads. Doro stepped forward, surprised and pleased. He raised his staff and shouted something in the tribal tongue. The villagers echoed the cry. Raka walked up to Tom and placed a hand on his shoulder. Her eyes showed pride. Tom gave a tired smile. I'm guessing that means I passed? Raka nodded slowly. You pass, Tom laughed. Well, that's good news. Back in the village, the trial was followed by a celebration. Fires were lit, and food was shared. The tribe sang, their voices deep and powerful. Tom was given a new set of closed light armor made from soft beast hide, and marked with the stone bone symbol. It was a sign that he was now one of them. No longer a stranger. No longer the soft one. Now, he was Tommy the clever, the outsider who had passed the trial of fire teeth without brute strength. Children ran around him, laughing and pointing at the sky, pretending to fight beasts. Raka sat beside him, calm and proud. Doro gave him a carved stone, a mark of honor. Tom looked around and felt something strange. He belonged here, on this wild alien world, with these strange but kind people. He had a place, not as a lost human, not as a survivor, but as something new. The morning sun painted the village with soft light. Tom woke to the smell of cooking fires and fresh earth. His leg felt stronger now, the pain dull but still there, a reminder of how close he had come to failure. Outside his hut, Raka was already waiting. Her tall form stood like a silent guardian. Today would be important, she said with a nod. Tom followed her through the waking village. Children played nearby, and elders gathered around fires, speaking quietly. The tribe moved with purpose. Raka led Tom to the junkyard near the village, the place filled with old machines and broken technology. It was here that the tribe kept the remains of what they called the machine spirit. Tom's eyes widened. The machine spirit was a strange idea. It was a story the tribe told how long ago machines had come to their world, bringing both help and danger. The tribe learned to respect these strange objects, calling their power the machine spirit. Now, the machine spirit rested here in pieces. Doro appeared, standing beside a large machine that looked like a half-buried ship engine. It was old, covered with moss and rust, but it hummed softly with hidden power. Doro touched the engine carefully. Then he spoke in his slow, deep language. Raka translated. This machine was once alive. It protected our tribe. It gave us water, fire, and light. Tomek looked closer. He saw pipes, wires, and glass tubes. The engine was a mix of technology and nature, part machine, part mystery. Can it work again? Tomek asked. Doro smiled. That is why you are here. Tomek nodded. I will try. Tomek spent the day working on the machine. He cleaned away moss, fixed broken wires, and replaced cracked glass tubes. With parts from his pouch, the tribe watched, curious but silent. Raka brought him food and water. Bim, the child, peeked often from behind the huts, eyes wide with wonder. Tomek felt a strange connection to this place. The tribe had no great cities or advanced technology, but they understood respect and balanced out. By evening, the machine still didn't work. But Tomek was not discouraged. This machine, it's more than metal, he said. It needs energy, a spark, something to awaken the spirit inside. Doro nodded. The fire is the spirit. Tomek looked at the green flames burning in the village fires. He had an idea. That night, with the tribe gathered, Tomek prepared the machine for a test. He connected wires to a crystal one like the one Raka had given him earlier. Raka and Doro watched closely. Tomek turned the crystal toward the fire. As the flames flickered, he focused the crystal's energy on the machine. Suddenly, the engine hummed louder. Pipes vibrated. Lights flickered along the metal plates. The machine's spirit was waking. The tribe gasped. Some stepped back. Others cheered quietly. Tomek smiled. This is just the beginning, he said. In the days that followed, Tomek taught the tribe how to care for the machine's spirit. Together, they repaired broken parts, cleaned pipes, and fed the machine with energy from crystals and fire. The engine gave the village power. It pumped fresh water into stone basins. It made fire glow brighter. It even sent signals into the sky, signals that, Tomek hoped, could reach other humans lost on this strange world. One evening, as the sky turned deep blue, Raka came to Tomek with a serious look. There are others, she said simply. Tomek's heart quickened. Other humans? He asked. Raka nodded. They are near, but they are lost, and they do not trust. Tomek thought about the tribe, the machine spirit, and the trial of Fireteeth. Everything had changed so fast. He looked at the glowing engine and the stars above. If they come, Tomek said, we will be ready. Raka smiled softly. You are our king now. Tomek blinked. King, he repeated. Doro approached, placing a heavy hand on Tomek's shoulder. You have passed the trial. You saved our machine spirit. The tribe sees you as leader. Tomek swallowed hard. He was no king, just a man from another world. But here, among these strong and strange people, he had become something more. The night was quiet except for the soft hum of the machine spirit. Its gentle light filled the village with a strange comfort. Tomek sat outside his hut, watching the stars. The sky was clear, and many bright points of light twinkled above. Somewhere out there were others, humans, like him, but lost in this strange world. Raka came and sat beside him. She looked toward the horizon where the jungle met the sky. They are near, she said. Tomek nodded. I know. We have to find them before they get hurt. Raka's eyes grew serious. They do not trust easily. They are scared. They see the jungle as danger. Tomek understood. Humans, lost and afraid, could become enemies without meaning to. We need to prepare, Tomek said. The next day, Tomek called a meeting. The tribe gathered around the fire. Doro and Raka stood near him. Tomek spoke slowly so all could understand. There are others like me, he said, lost humans. We must find them, help them, bring them here. The tribe was silent. Some looked worried, others curious. Doro nodded. We will help. Our home is safe, Raka added. But the jungle is dangerous. They may not want help. Tomek stood tall. Then we will show them kindness. We will be ready for anything. That afternoon, Tomek prepared. He packed supplies, water, food, tools, and small gifts from the tribe, carved stones, fresh fruit, and cloth. Raka and a few warriors joined him. Bim, the curious child, wanted to come too. But Tomek gently said, not this time. It's too dangerous. They left the village at sunset, moving quietly through the jungle. The trees grew thick. Strange sounds echoed, calls of unknown animals, rustling leaves, distant crashes. Tomek kept his hand on the spear Raka gave him. Hours passed. Suddenly, They found signs, broken branches, footprints too large for the tribe's feet, and small fires still smoking. They have been here, Raka said. They followed the trail at last. They saw a camp. It was small and rough tents made of torn fabric, metal scraps, and burned trees. From the shadows, several humans watched them. Their faces were tired and weary. Some held makeshift weapons. Tomek stepped forward and raised his hands. Palms open. I am Tomek, he said. I come with friends. We want peace. The humans did not move. One stepped forward. He was tall, with a beard and sharp eyes. Why should we trust you? Tomek looked at him honestly. Because I am like you, lost here. But I have found a home, a tribe, a place where we can live safe. The man studied Tomek, then glanced at the others. Finally, he lowered his weapon. My name is Jor, he said. Raka stepped beside Tomek and spoke softly in the tribe's language. Jor watched carefully but did not understand. Tomek smiled. Raka is my friend. She is strong and kind. That night, around the small fire, Tomek shared food and stories. Jor and his group told of their struggles, lost ships, failed signals, hunger, and fear. Tomek listened and nodded. He told them about the tribe, the machine spirit, and the trial of fire teeth. The others looked surprised but hopeful. You have a tribe? One asked. Yes, Tomek said. Strong, kind people. We can all be safe together. Jor looked at Tomek with a new respect. We will come, he said quietly, if you lead us. The next days were busy. Tomek helped the lost ones recover. The tribe shared food and medicine. Some humans were scared of the tall aliens, but Tomek and Raka helped them see the tribe's kindness. Slowly, trust grew. One morning, Tomek stood with Jor at the village edge. It's time, Tomek said. We go home. Together, they walked back to the tribe. The villagers welcomed them with cheers and open arms. Children ran to touch the new rivals, and elders smiled proudly. Doro stepped forward and declared, Today, we are stronger. Together. Tomek looked around. The tribe, the lost ones, the machine spirits, everything was coming together. He felt hope for the first time since the crash. He believed they could build a new future. Here, on this strange world. With these alien friends and fellow humans, Tomek was no longer lost. He was a leader, a king of two worlds. The village had changed. More huts stood now, built by both the tribe and the lost humans. The machine spirit powered their homes, gave water, and kept the fire bright. Tomek walked through the streets, watching children play and adults work side by side. The feeling of hope was strong, but the sky told a different story. One afternoon, while Tomek and Raka repaired the machine, a shadow crossed the sun. Tomek looked up. Far above, a dark shape moved quickly through the clouds. It was a ship, unlike any Tomek had seen, sleek and silent. He felt a cold chill. This is not good, Tomek said. Raka's eyes narrowed. The Sky Watchers, they are near. The Sky Watchers were a feared group of machines sent by unknown powers from beyond the stars. The tribe called them the Steel Hunters. They came without mercy, hunting anything that moved. Tomek had heard stories from the elders of other tribes destroyed by the Steel Hunters, of machines taking prisoners, of villages burned to ash. Now, the threat was close. Tomek gathered the tribe and the lost humans. They met around the glowing fires of the machine spirit. We have to prepare, Tomek said firmly. The Steel Hunters will not stop. We must defend our home. Jor, the leader of the lost humans, stood beside him. We have weapons and skills, but their machines are strong, Raka added. The jungle can help us. We know it better than they do. Doro raised his staff. The tribe will fight for our home, for our future. The next days were filled with work and training. The tribe taught the lost humans how to move quietly through the jungle, how to use the traps hidden among the trees, and how to listen to the sounds of the forest. Tomek led the defense team. He planned carefully, using his knowledge from Earth and what he learned from the tribe. They set up lookout points high in the trees. They built hidden traps near the paths. Raka showed Tomek how to use the jungle's natural power, vines that could snap tight like ropes, roots that could trip the strongest hunter. At night, the machine spirit's light shone brighter, powering alarms and signaling posts. Then, one evening, the sky darkened again. This time, many ships appeared, steel hunters. They flew low, scanning the ground with bright lights. The tribe and humans hid, waiting. Tomac's heart beat fast. He watched as one ship landed nearby, its doors opening slowly. Steel machines marched out tall, metal warriors with glowing eyes. Tomac gave the signal. The jungle came alive. Vines snapped and pulled the first machine off balance. Traps fired nets that wrapped around legs and arms. The tribe's warriors attacked with spears and arrows, while the lost humans used their firearms carefully. The steel hunters fought back with metal fists and laser beams, but they did not know the jungle like the tribe. Tomac led a group to flank the machines, using the vines and roots to trap and slow them. One of the machines spotted Tomac and fired a laser. Tomac dove behind a tree just in time. Raka rushed to help, throwing a spear that hit the machine's leg. It stumbled. The fight was long and hard. Machines crashed and sparks flew. The jungle echoed with shouts, roars, and the sounds of battle. Tomac saw Jor fight fiercely, protecting his people. The tribe's elders helped the wounded. Finally, after hours, the steel hunters retreated. Their ships rose, flying back into the clouds. The village was safe for now. As the dawn broke, Tomac looked around. The tribe was tired but alive. The lost humans were grateful. Raka stood by his side, proud but worried. "We won today," Tomac said. "But they will come back." Doro stepped forward. "Then we prepare better. We grow stronger." Tomac nodded. This was just the beginning. He had become more than a survivor, more than a leader. He was a king defending his kingdom, not just of people, but of hope. And he would fight for it, whatever came from the sky. The smoke had cleared. The sun rose slowly over the jungle, casting a golden light on the village. The ground was marked with the signs of the recent battle: burnt leaves, broken branches, and scorched earth, but the people stood strong. Tomac walked through the village, speaking to the tribe and the humans. Warriors were resting. Healers were treating the wounded. Children peeked out from behind huts, still wide-eyed from what they had seen. But no one had run away. They had stood together. They had won. The machine spirit, though damaged in the fight, still glowed gently at the heart of the village. Its light brought peace, its hum a reminder of what they were building together. Tomac stood before it with Doro and Raka beside him. "We fought back the steel hunters," Tomac said. "But they will return. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow. But we must be ready, Doro." The wise elder nodded slowly. "The sky will bring more danger, but the ground beneath our feet, this is our strength." Raka stepped forward. "We are not afraid." Tomac looked at both of them. "Then it is time to think about what comes next." That evening, a large fire was built in the middle of the village. Everyone gathered: tribe members, humans, warriors, elders, children. Even the quietest among them came out to hear what would be said. Tomac stood before them. "I came here by accident," he said. "I was lost, alone. But you found me. You healed me. You made me one of you." He looked around. "And then we found more people, others who had been lost, like I was. We brought them in. You accepted them, too." Tomac held up a hand. "We are not two groups anymore. We are one. One people, one tribe." The crowd nodded, some smiling, some wiping quiet tears. Jor, the leader of the lost humans, stood. "We have found something here that we did not expect, a home." Doro stepped forward next. "The machine spirit has chosen to wait for us. That is no small thing. It is a sign." "A sign of what?" someone asked from the crowd. Tomac answered. "A sign that we must build. Not just survive, but grow, learn, create something better." The next weeks were filled with energy. Together, they rebuilt the damaged parts of the village. Stronger huts were made from new designs, tribal woodcraft mixed with human engineering. The machine spirit was repaired with better crystals and stronger tools. Workshops were built. Gardens were planted. Watchtowers were raised high into the jungle trees. The humans taught the tribe how to make simple machines. The tribe taught the humans how to speak to the forest and listen to its signs. Even the children began learning both ways from Earth and from the wild. It was a new beginning. One day, Bim, the curious child, ran to Tomek, holding a strange metal box. Sky thing, Bim said, excited. Tomek opened the box carefully. Inside was a small transmitter, an old Earth device meant for long-range communication. George joined him and examined it. We might be able to send a message. Tomek looked toward the stars, to Earth, or to any ship close enough to hear us. They worked together for days, connecting the transmitter to the machine's spirit, using its power to send a signal into the sky. The message was simple. We are survivors. We have made peace. We welcome those who seek it. And then they waited. One night, as Tomek stood alone at the edge of the village, Raka joined him. The stars are quiet, she said. For now, Tomek replied. She looked at him. Do you miss your home? He thought for a moment. I did. But now, this feels like home. You are one of us, Raka said. The tribe chose you. The machine spirit chose you. And I would fight beside you, always. Tomek smiled. Then I'll fight to protect all of this, you, the tribe, the children, even the sky. She nodded. Then we build a future, together. Weeks later, a light appeared in the sky. A ship not like the steel hunters moved slowly above the jungle. The village gathered again. Everyone looked up. The transmitter had worked. They waited to see if the ship was friend or foe. The ship landed gently beyond the trees. From it stepped a small group of humans in silver suits. One raised a hand in peace. Tomek stepped forward, with Raka beside him. Welcome, he said, to our tribe. The new humans looked around in wonder at the village, the strange tall warriors, and the peaceful glow of the machine spirit. You built all this? One asked. Tomek nodded. Together. And so, the story spread of a man who fell from the sky, was saved by a tall warrior woman, and became the king of a new tribe. A tribe of unity. A tribe of two worlds, not built by power or fear but by trust, courage, and hope. And under the stars of a distant world, they began a new chapter, together. The end.